Okay, next let's talk about the Stevens grip. Now, the Stevens grip, when you go for a double vertical stroke, by default, it's a little awkward at first because your hand is turned sideways, and this motion is not quite as easy as this motion, so it takes a good bit of work. But after you kind of master it, it does it fairly well. And it gets pretty easy. The single independent strokes also takes a bit of work because it's kind of hard to figure out how to get this mallet to move without that one moving too much. Like, it's kind of hard in the beginning to not do this. You kind of figure out the hand angles and all that, and then eventually you can kind of figure out how to do it, and it's okay. Alternating strokes feel really comfortable. And all that's fine. Now, the real strength of the grip is its really strong double lateral, triple lateral, and one-handed rolls. All the twisting motion is so easy with this grip. You can get a nice strong double lateral roll at a fifth, and you can get it at a second. You can do it at an octave. And it all feels really comfortable and easy. You can also do one-handed rolls at really small intervals or just on one note. All that feels very, very comfortable. It's the main strength of the grip, is rotations could not be easier. And it works really well for that. Now, interval spreading, once you get the hang of it, it's really fast. Fifth to a second, really easy. You just shoot the mallet over there with your finger, not a big deal. The large interval takes a good deal of work. A lot of people have trouble getting the large interval to the small interval, but after a while, you can do that pretty quick too. Now, I think one of the two biggest weaknesses of the grip is hand spreading is really uncomfortable. Like, if we were going to do the same C and G thing we did with the Burton grip, you can't really get it without breaking your wrist, at least not playing in the same playing zone. I mean, you can play on the edge of one bar and kind of the center of the other, and you can kind of do it that way. But I never like playing on the edges of the naturals because I always feel like I'm going to miss, or it's not a very comfortable feeling. So that's kind of a weakness of the grip. If we wanted to play that B flat major chord that we played earlier and hit the middle of the bars, it's just very, it feels tense and unnatural. And lastly, the power. It's a little bit hard to get power on your double vertical strokes with this grip, simply because your hand's turned over. It's really hard to get a lot of volume. Now, after you spend some time building up some muscle, then it's a little bit easier. And if you incorporate a little bit of arm, it's a lot easier. Add a little of this arm motion in there, instead of just the wrist. You can get a little more bite out of the instrument. But it is kind of a weakness of the grip. It's way easier to play loud with a Burton grip than the traditional grip. Now, I saved the traditional grip for last because I think it kind of shares the best of both worlds when it comes to the Stevens grip and the Burton grip. For example, the double laterals are very comfortable because of the palm down position. The independent strokes are really easy. The alternating strokes are really easy. The double lateral strokes are a little bit more comfortable with the Burton grip, but not quite as comfortable with the Stevens grip. You can't quite get the bite and articulation you can with the Stevens grip, but it's a little bit more balanced feeling doing them with a traditional grip versus the Burton grip. The one-handed rolls, I think, are a little bit easier to maneuver with the traditional grip. So I think they're pretty much on par with the Stevens grip. When it comes to a really small interval, it's a little bit more difficult. But then again, I don't use the grip, so I'm no master. So anyway, let's see. Hand spreading is really, really easy. We can get that chord from earlier, no problem. Not even breaking a sweat. Now, kind of the weakness of this grip in comparison to the other two is that it's really hard to spread the interval quickly because your thumb is going in and out of the mallets. Now, the same is happening with a Burton grip. Your thumb's going in and out, but your thumb's not really moving anything. Your thumb's just kind of hanging out there, and your fingers are doing most of the work. But with a traditional cross grip, the thumb plays a major role in getting to the smaller intervals, and it plays a major role in spreading to the large intervals. So you can't quite do it as fast with this grip as with the other ones. Now, among the advantages, though, is you get a lot of power. You can get lots of nice, powerful chords. No effort required. And I think that pretty much sums it up. Now, there's a few other grips that aren't really used a whole lot, but I'll go ahead and throw them out there. We have the Musser grip, which is where Stevens got his grip from. So the big difference is in the Musser grip, your hand is turned over. Okay, so the mallets are held with the same fingers, but the hand's turned over flat instead of turned vertically like with the Stevens grip. And I only know two players who use this grip today. One would be, well, actually they're both vibraphonists. We have Joe Locke and the vibraphonist Lalo both use this Musser type grip. And they use it, and it's great and it's spectacular, but I don't really see it used on marimba anymore. And then Gordon Stout has his own grip, which is, I think, just like the Burton grip, except instead of this mallet being in between the first and middle finger, it's between the middle finger and the ring finger. So I think that's the only difference, but it's very, very similar to the Burton grip and how it operates. Then there's a whole variety of 6 mallet grips and stuff like that, and maybe we might get to that in some far, far off episode. So when you're trying to decide what grip is right for you, it really comes down to a couple different factors. The key point is that most marimba literature can be played with either of the grips that I've showed you. There's some that are a little bit more better suited to the other. Like if you want to play anything by Kevin Bobo, you're probably going to have to use the Stevens grip. I've never seen anyone successfully play Gordon's bicycle with Burton grip or traditional cross grip. But there's other instances, you know, when you have, like Merlin, your hands are spread really far apart a lot of the time doing crazy octave runs. That's really hard on Stevens grip. It's a lot easier with Burton or traditional grip. And also, the look and feel should probably be a part of your decision making. For example, people that play with traditional grip or Burton grip tend to have a nice, wavy, fluid look that looks really awesome. You know, using the arm is so natural with that grip because the hand is in a palm down position. Whereas most Stevens grip players tend to play with very quick, snappy piston strokes, lots of pre-positioning, and it's all very clean, it's all very solid, but to me it just doesn't quite have the visual appeal as incorporating a little bit of the arm into the motion. So I highly recommend learning 2 grips. That way you get the best of both worlds. When one piece would be a lot easier with the cross grip, you switch over, and then one piece has lots of crazy rolls and laterals and all that sort of thing, you switch back to Stevens, and then everything's fine and easy. Highly recommend it. Alright, I have one final thing I want to talk about, just kind of get off my chest, and that's the concept of grip prejudice. Now, a lot of young players in the United States are currently learning Stevens technique. And that's great. I love the grip as my primary grip. But invariably on YouTube, when somebody's playing with Burton grip or traditional cross grip, and they're not playing a piece so high, invariably the first comment will be, you should try Stevens grip, that'll make your playing so much better. And that's not usually the case. I mean, if somebody's driving a car horribly, you don't go up to them and be like, hey man, you need to buy a Honda. You'll drive so much better. Okay, usually the grip is not the fault if players are playing poorly. I mean, there is that like 5% of pieces that were made specifically for Stevens grip. And maybe in that case, that suggestion would be valid. But most of the time, you can play any piece with any grip, and it shouldn't make any difference. There's lots of famous players that use the traditional cross grip and the Burton grip. In fact, the winner of this year's PAS Marimba competition used traditional cross grip to do it, when almost every single other player, now I think every single other player, was using Stevens grip. So, don't hate. In fact, learn too. It'll just make you more versatile later. Alright, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.